Do you ever feel like you're not getting your needs met in your marriage? Hi, I'm Sharon Pope. If you're not familiar with me, I am the love and relationship coach for women who are struggling in disconnected marriages and trying to figure out, can they stay and make it work? Or is the only answer to lovingly release it? If what I say and share here today speaks to you, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about when you feel like you're not getting your needs met inside your marriage. Now, we've all been in relationships where our needs aren't being met. It's frustrating and even maddening at times. We can't understand, why is it so difficult? I mean, it's not like we're asking to get into a private jet and jet off to Paris for the weekend. We want some simple things, right? We want to be paid attention to, told we're beautiful once in a while. We want to be appreciated for all that we do, and we want to be desired. In my first marriage, there came a point about 8 years in when I wanted affection and more connection in my marriage. But that wasn't what we had ever done together. That wasn't the implied agreement between us when we got together and even decided to marry. So I, of course, had communicated to him what it was that I wanted and what I was longing for. And although he tried to give me what I needed, it wasn't something in him to give. And frankly, I wasn't great at receiving it when he did make the attempt. Now, that didn't make him a bad husband or a bad person, but it did make us a couple that wanted very different things inside of our marriage. Not knowing all that I know now, there were certainly things that I could have done better when I was unwinding that marriage. But one thing I did do well is I didn't try to contort him into someone who he wasn't so that I could get my needs met. I saw and appreciated him for who he was and frankly who he wasn't, and made the very difficult and painful decision that that relationship, from my perspective, was now complete. By all accounts, my ex-husband is happily remarried and with someone that thinks the way he loves is absolutely perfect. And he deserves that. And I don't know her, but I'm certain that she does too. We all deserve to give our relationships our very best, and for that to be considered a beautiful gift from our partners. Now, here's where this falls off the rails in our relationships. Where it all goes wrong is when we have our list of needs and we set out on a mission to change our partners into being the person that can check those boxes for us. And when he can't or won't meet our needs, we sometimes get those boxes checked by someone else, don't we? Believe me, I understand this better than you may think I do. So we might tell him again and again, which by the way, he just interprets as nagging. He may give a few more hugs or kisses, maybe even flowers or notes, but surviving on crumbs only keeps you starving and then wanting more. He makes changes for a few days or a few weeks or even a few months, but eventually he goes back to who he really is and how he really loves, because that's who he is and how he really loves. You just don't like that answer, so you remain in this circular struggle. Now, here's what you get to do and what you don't get to do. I always say that no one ever taught us how to do this well. So I am not saying that people cannot evolve and change the way they engage with their partners. They absolutely can if they choose to seek help and support in making those changes. Because no one just randomly changes the DNA of who they are on a Tuesday morning because you want them to. Now, I am also not saying that your spouse is here on this planet at this time in order to meet your needs. He's not. Neither is anyone else, by the way. But our job is not to convince, nag, or attempt to control others into being who we need them to be. Our job is to understand and meet our own needs, love others for where they are, and then tell the truth to ourselves about what is really possible and not possible in the relationship between two people. You don't get to force people into being who you want them to be so that you can get your needs met. You do get to choose, though, whether or not that works for you and aligns with what it is that you want to create in your life. It's a subtle distinction. There's a woman named Tracy Kaufman who said, "You don't get to tell people how to love you. You get to choose if you want to participate in the way that they love." So if this spoke to you, if this taught you something new or gave you some new insight, I hope that you'll subscribe to the channel. And if you want to be notified every time I post a new video, just ring the red bell in the top right corner. If you're ready to take this further for yourself, there is a link to schedule a complimentary truth and clarity session with either myself or a member of my team to see if there's a fit for us to work together in the notes section below. Take good care.